Today I'm talking about The Waterman and what makes it a dope black movie. What's up everybody? I'm Victor Stiff. I'm a film critic and I watch hundreds of movies a year, and I'd like to use this channel to help you find your next favorite film. The Waterman made its debut at TIFF last September, and now it's finally available for the whole world to stream. This isn't one of my super deep reviews, this is more like a quick hit piece just to let you know about the movie and why I think it's worth your time. The Waterman premiered last September at the 45th Annual Toronto International Film Festival. The film stars one of the finest actors working today, David Oyelowo, who also makes his directorial debut. This fine cast also features Rosario Dawson, Lonnie Chavis, Alfred Molina, Maria Bello, and Amaya Miller. The story centers on a comic book-loving 11-year-old boy named Gunnar, played by Lonnie Chavis. When his mother Mary falls deathly ill, Gunnar decides to do whatever it takes to save her life. Gunnar becomes obsessed with the local legend about a supernatural being known as the Waterman. It's said that the Waterman has the power to preserve life, so Gunnar sets out on a quest to track down the Waterman and ultimately save his mom. The first thing that stands out about The Waterman is its similarities to all those beloved AMBLIN entertainment flicks from the 80s. It has a similar vibe to films like The Goonies and Poltergeist, right down to its vintage-looking poster. The best AMBLIN titles focus on ordinary people caught up in extraordinary circumstances. They feature genre movie staples like pirates, monsters, aliens, and time travel. But at the end of the day, they're really about family, friendship, and finding your inner strength. These movies may seem lighthearted and whimsical on the surface, but they put their poor characters through the emotional ringer. The style of film often menaces its protagonist with some type of nasty threat, like haunted houses, killer sharks, or gremlin infestations. You still see AMBLIN's tried and true formula today in shows like Stranger Things, and in films like Bumblebee, Super 8, and Finding Ohana. What sets The Waterman apart from the titles that inspired it isn't the film's plot or special effects, it's its point of view. The story centers on people of color, a swath of the population this type of movie ignored during its heyday. But here's the kicker. Even though The Waterman focuses on a black child, it isn't a black story. The Waterman is a universal story told through the lens of a family of color. However, an examination of race and class takes a backseat as the story explores the relationship between a child and his parents. This is how things have functioned in movies about white people since the days of silent films. Skin color doesn't define the characters in E.T. The film's young heroes, Elliot and Gertie, aren't defined by their whiteness. They just so happen to be white. It's the same thing here in The Waterman. In fact, The Waterman's original screenplay was about a white family. Far too often, movies only cast black people to portray black characters who are supposed to act black. The film industry must consider actors of color for a broader spectrum of roles. Hollywood can't pat itself on the back for hiring Jamie Foxx to play Ray Charles or Will Smith to play Muhammad Ali. These roles are only available to black people. It's great to see studios finance movies about black icons, I'm all for that, but it doesn't move the needle in terms of casting. Progress is casting Will Smith to play a character like Jurassic Park's Dr. Alan Grant, since nothing about the character is rooted in being white. Director David Oyelowo had this to say about making the film. There's a box in which we are allowed to thrive, and outside of that box, it becomes the preserve of a different demographic of person, to tell that kind of story, unfortunately. The radical thing is when we're allowed to exist in a complex way outside of that purview. It's just as radical to have a universal human story that anyone and everyone can relate to regardless of where they're from. 12-year-old me would have loved seeing myself represented in movies like E.T. and The Goonies, and I'm thrilled that a generation of kids will grow up seeing themselves represented in Gunnar Boom, and hopefully seeing themselves represented so often they start taking it for granted. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for future content from dope black movies. If you're lucky, you can catch The Waterman in theaters right now. For everyone else, it's available on all the major streaming platforms. Once again, I'm Victor Stiff. This is Dope Black Movies, and thank you so much for watching.